Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next short attention span webinar. This one's kind of fun. This is a frequently asked question that Kelly and I get all the time. And the question is, should I send samples? Yeah. And what do you think? And this is kind of a, somebody might be looking at this and saying, well, wait a minute, I don't understand. Why is this an issue? I mean, isn't this something that you would automatically do? If you automatically do it, that's fine. Open up your mind for a second and hear what we're proposing, and see where we're going to give you 3 answers. Why is this an issue? It's because there's risk involved, right? You're throwing something out there, and you're saying, "Look at me." Now you think to yourself, "Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. That's what the sample's for." But you can actually do damage to the approach, to your reputation. I mean, I've heard of people that have sent out samples that have typos on them. It just, stuff, and that's not really what we're talking about here. But it's not exactly what you think. Yeah, I'm going to put a brochure in the mail along with my introductory letter. Well, yeah, okay, but the brochure, it better be something special. So 3 answers, Kelly: yes, no, and yes, but. Now, I'm going to take the positive on this. I'm going to let you take the negative. I think I do that to you a lot, don't I? So hell yes, I want to send samples. I want to be judged on the quality that I can create. I am a craftsman. I am a fine printer. I am someone that is very proud of what I'm capable of, and I'm going to put some samples that demonstrate my capabilities. We've got some large format. We've got some digital. We've got some stuff that nobody else can do. We've got great pride in what we do. Matter of fact, the stuff that we don't do, those unique offerings, that's what differentiates us from our competitors. So what I'm going to do, Kelly, is I'm going to put together in a presentation folder a whole bunch of different samples of some things that we do, and I'm going to stick that in an envelope, all right? Because, oh, and by the way, my client's going to look at that and say, oh, look at that, we're doing business with a big account. That's terrific. My hope then is that I'm going to impress my customer. And, I very well might, right? I mean, that's, anything else on the yes side, Kelly?
No, I don't think so.
No, you just want to go right to no. All right.
No. I mean, I mean, the only other thing you can say about it is that you're being compliant, because presumably they've asked you to send samples. So you're saying, okay, I will send the samples. So you're complying with what their request is.
Okay. So
and not being contrary, which is what I am, which is absolutely, positively, no. So I get the most shocked looks, and I get so much argument from my customers. I could be in a room full of, 10 guys that have been selling printing for 35 years, and they just rail at me for this. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. Here's what I want you to understand about samples. Nobody is making buying decisions today based on samples that you send them. That's my belief. I believe it's a put-off. I believe if you are making a cold call and somebody says to you, sure, Bill, go ahead and throw some samples in the mail to me and I'll take a look at your work. I want to ask you out there, who called you back 3 days after they got your samples and said, I've got a $10,000 order for you. Come on in. I don't believe buyers are making decisions about who to use based on samples. And here are some other things that are some of the reasons that you don't want to do that is you might be a really high-end printer that does fantastic 8-color work with spot aqueous varnishes, and you send that to a nonprofit and they go, we could never afford this. They're too good. Or the opposite could be true. You might send something where the crossover isn't very good, or maybe the paper stock wasn't that great of a quality, and again, they're not good enough. So another thing, I had a really fortunate opportunity to interview a buyer, and she said, just because I'm a restaurant doesn't mean you should just send me restaurant samples. You should understand something about me and the kind of things that I'm trying to accomplish from a marketing perspective. So don't just, it shouldn't just be, I work for Chili's, so I'm going to send Chili's samples to all my other restaurant prospects. It's really, something that you should really give some serious thought to. Somebody who reads my blog wrote to me and said, here's my process and here's what I do. And we send this beautiful, leather-bound portfolio with tissue paper and all these samples inside of it, and I'm not getting any response. And I said, you're not properly qualifying these people before you send out a $30 packet plus shipping. You don't even know if this person is a candidate for what you do yet. So you're jumping the gun. You're getting way ahead of yourself before you've actually qualified this prospect. And so my response is just to be human and say, in my experience, nobody buys from me based on what they see in my sample case. So what I need, what makes more sense is for us to get together, talk about your needs. I can tell you about the kinds of problems that I solve and what I do for people, and from there we'll decide if it makes sense for us to talk about the future of our business relationship. And again, more and more people today are saying, "You're so right. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna refuse to do it." And so you're again the opposite of being compliant. You're being controversial. You're saying, I won't send you the samples, but here's why.
Okay,
so let's talk about the caveat, Bill. Yes, but.
So the samples that I want to send are ones where, okay, if I'm going to be judged based on what I'm sending, and if I send great high-quality stuff, the client might say, wow, they're expensive. If I send low-quality stuff, they say, oh, they're that kind of printer. The samples that I want to send are the ones that tell a story. That's my ideal. That's our ideal. Kelly and I both come up from the same place on this, that if I can send something that says, look, I did a job for a client, and this is what they used to do, and this is what we did now, and here's the difference. If it's a mailing and you got a double-digit response rate, you got a huge order came out of this piece, or it was an award-winning something that tells a story. Why? Because the story of the job will back up your brand. And then the comment that you can make either in person or over the phone is, this is who I am. This is what I do. A printer is a printer, but we all have the same equipment, but I'm going to do something spectacular because I'm going to learn the story behind the printed piece, and I'm going to come up with the best print solution. Here, let me give you an example. And it works if you have somebody who says, yeah, you know what? I've got that exact same problem. In fact, that's the great thing about, so if you did a mailing for a hospital or something that helped announce a new wing or a new department, then yeah, you could go from one hospital to another and say, look at the great things that we can do for you as well. So Kelly, you and I are both in agreement on that, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and what that really sounds more to me, though, is a case study. It sounds like taking, maybe taking some snapshots of the pieces and laying it all out there and saying, again, problem, solution, result, in maybe a nice one-page thing that you could send out. And that I absolutely advocate doing all the time, for sure.
But you know what? I mean, is this going to go to purchasing? Yeah, maybe. But moreover, here's a great opportunity to get around purchasing, to get away from purchasing, and say, hey, marketing department, you got a trade show coming up. Let us help you to make it rock. The product manager, you're about to launch something, and let me show you what I did for somebody else. Hey, CEO of the company, you're looking to get into a new market. I've done that. I read about you in the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg Weekly, and I could do that for you as well. So you need to do the pre-call research. You need to look at their website. You need to Google them. You need to figure out what's their deal, and then send them an appropriate piece, but not just something that says, here's the kind of stuff that we print. I think that's the invitation to death. Kelly, anything left on this?
No, I think we made it pretty clear.
All right. So, you short attention span fans, that's the answer to our answer to the question, do I send samples? We look forward to talking to you on another short attention span webinar. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Bill.